Hi everyone, good morning. So let's get started with typescripting sessions. As part of the today's session, we will see a brief overview on this particular TypeScript, how exactly it's gonna work, and what are all its features. So let's get started. So in general, this TypeScript is an open source programming language. And of course, it's an object-oriented programming language. As you all know that open source means that anyone can simply download it and they can work on their projects using this particular TypeScripting. And the another most important thing that we need to consider here is this TypeScripting is built on top of the JavaScripting. And of course, it is developed by Microsoft. As it is built on top of that particular JavaScript, right? It is a superset of a JavaScript. What are all the features does the JavaScript has? Of course, it has all those features and additional features like type annotations and interfaces, enums, and generics. All these features are there as part of a TypeScript. And another key thing that we need to consider here is if I have a valid JavaScript code, I can still use it as part of a TypeScripting code. So which is a valid JavaScript code is also a valid TypeScripting code itself. Perfectly all right. Then what are all the various features we have for this particular TypeScript? So this supports a cross-platform and it's an object-oriented programming language. And whenever you write down the code, ideally at the compile time itself, your TypeScripting is giving an error messages, which helps us in saving our time until and unless you execute the scripts, ideally certain, right, in a JavaScript basically, until and unless you execute it, you don't get that particular issues. Whereas here in a TypeScript, if at all you have written some syntax and if it is wrong, it's ideally showing you that particular issues, which helps us in resolving the issues at the earliest. And another most important thing is this TypeScript is an advanced version of our JavaScript. Perfect. Then the next point that I want to explain here is how this TypeScript is gonna work. Ideally, guys, once after you created any file with a dot extension of a TS, right? It's gonna be a TypeScript file. You can execute it in a two ways. One is an online TypeScript editor. Okay, free online compilation basically, for which you don't need to do any installation, simply opening up that URL and you can execute your code. But the second approach out over here is configuring your laptop, executing the code in your machine. But the key thing that we need to consider here is whenever you want to execute the code in your machine, the first and foremost thing that you need to do is you need to compile that a TypeScripting code into our regular JavaScript code using a TypeScript compiler, and later we can run that a JavaScript code. That's fine. Once we are done with the configuration part, we'll show you how exactly we can run it on an online editor, and how exactly you can compile it, and how exactly you can execute it. That we will see as part of our next session, guys. Okay, perfectly all right. That's all I have for this session. See you again in the next session. Thank you.
Hi, good morning, everyone. So, guys, as part of the today's session, let us see the TypeScript configuration in our machine. So, how exactly we can configure this TypeScript? Let us see in detail about that particular stuff. So, the thing here is, irrespective of your operating system, whether it is a Windows machine or whether it is a Mac machine, basically, you just need to download these things into your machine. The first thing is Visual Studio Code. So why exactly we need this Visual Studio Code means using this particular editor itself, we are going to write down our source code. See, if you look at this particular screen right now, I'm using a PowerPoint presentation where I'm writing down that information. The similar way, in order to write down the TypeScript code, there should be an editor for us to write it. So among all those editors, the quite commonly used editor is a Visual Studio Code. Visual Studio Code has a lot of plugins and other details, right? Which helps us in writing down our code in a much more easier way. So that's the reason we need a Visual Studio Code. How exactly you can download that Visual Studio Code? So here is a link. I have provided you the link for this Visual Studio Code. You can just copy this particular link. Okay. And open it in a new tab. See here, depending on your operating system, if it is a Windows, if it is a Mac, download this particular file. And once it got downloaded, double tap on that particular file, follow the standard installations, whatever the regular installations, right? When you downloaded any particular software, consider that you have a downloaded a VLC media player. You will download the exe, double tap on the exe. Have you ever followed that installation steps? The same way you need to follow it with the Visual Studio. And the next thing here that we need to download is a Node.js. See guys, this Node.js is a mandatory thing that we need. Even the TypeScript and the Playwright, we are going to download using the Node components itself. That's the reason we need to download this particular Node.js. Go to the Node.js official website and here choose the operating system and download it. So mine is an operating system as a Mac. Basically, I can download the Mac specific file and automatically this page content will be updated as part of your operating system. Download that particular file, double tap on it and complete the installation. And once this installation is successful, in order to check, okay, in order to check whether this installation is successful from a Node.js or not, the thing that I'm doing is I just opened my command prompt and here I'm using node hyphen hyphen version. I just used this node hyphen hyphen version. I was able to see that information. The similar way npm hyphen hyphen version, and I can see this particular version information is being populated. With that, I can confirm that my Node.js got successfully installed in this particular machine. Perfectly all right. Come back. If you look at the steps, the first step is a editor that we need, that we have a downloaded it. And the second step is a Node.js, which is a prerequisite. Basically, using the Node components itself, we are gonna download the rest of the things. That's the reason it's mandatory to have a Node.js. And then in order to install the TypeScript, you are gonna use a Node package, install hyphen G. G itself means we are asking it to install globally. Okay, install it globally. So here, and I'm defining it as a TypeScript. Copy this particular command and go back to the terminal. Okay, so on this particular terminal, okay, put this command. So what are we doing right now? npm install hyphen g, which is a globally TypeScript. Install it. I'm just installing it, and it's saying that the package got added successfully. Okay, the package got added successfully. And once this package got added successfully, you can verify whether this particular TypeScript got added successfully or not using this particular TypeScript compiler. TSC hyphen hyphen version, basically that it is showing up this particular version. Okay, or I can say TSC hyphen hyphen V. That also gives you the version of the TypeScript compiler. So this is the way, guys. So the installation steps and the files are one and the same for both the Windows and as well as a Mac. Okay, so there is a no much a difference. The files that you need to download in a Windows and a Mac are these are the things. The only difference that you identify is in a Windows you will be downloading an exe files. In a Mac you will be downloading a DMG files or the package files from where you will continue the installation. You will finish that installation. Perfectly all right. So far, as part of the today's session, we have seen this configuration. In the next session, we will see how exactly we can write down this particular code. Okay, so how exactly we can write down a basic TypeScript program and check how exactly we can execute it. So guys, if you remember, there were two options options basically to write down to execute the code. So one among that particular option is upon configuring your machine, you just need to write down a TypeScript code that you need to convert it into a JavaScript, and then that JavaScript code you need to execute. And the second one is an online compiler option. So as part of the next session, we will open the Visual Studio Code, we will create a sample program, and we will try to write that particular content, guys. Okay, perfectly all right. See you again in the next session. Thank you.
Hi everyone. Welcome back. So, guys, as part of the previous session, we have seen what exactly that needs to be downloaded and other details, right? So, here, what I'm gonna do right now is additionally, I'm gonna create a one configuration file to my code base. See, as of now, guys, what we are doing is we're creating a simple folder, right? For that particular folder, I'm just adding certain configurations. With this particular configurations, what it will helps is it helps us in running our test scripts in the upcoming sessions. So what I'm doing right now here is, so here as part of this particular slide, create tsconfig.json file in the project root folder. So here let me maximize my screen. So this is what my project root folder is. As part of this particular root folder, I'm just defining one file which is a tsconfig.json. See here tsconfig.json, and directly copy paste this content from here into this particular file, guys. Okay, anyways, we will be studying more about this particular file in the upcoming sessions, but the ultimate objective of this particular one is, if you see, we have created a simple folder, right? To that particular folder we are adding this particular configuration so that it helps us in executing our test scripts in the upcoming sessions. Okay, that's fine. Moving further, we will see how exactly we will be dealing with the execution parts and creating of data types and other chunks. Okay, thank you. Bye. Hey, hey everyone, welcome back. So, guys, as part of the today's session, I'm going to talk about the most important and interesting concept, which is a GitHub Copilot. So, guys, I'm trying to add this extension to my Visual Studio. So, I just went to these extensions, I searched for this GitHub Copilot, and then I just installed it. And upon installing it, it will ask you to sign into the account as and when you perform a sign in operation, right? So, it is asking you to authorize that. So authorize the Visual Studio to this particular one. I was just clicking on this authorize. That's it, guys. So as and when it got authorized, the connection got established, and see here, toggle the chat. And here, if you click on it, automatically the GitHub Copilot chat option is prompting for us. So Surendra, what is the beauty with respect to this Copilot? Why you have added? So guys, in the upcoming sessions, if you observe, whenever you are trying to write some piece of a code, automatically your Copilot itself is prompting us the lot of codes that we will be seeing in the upcoming sessions. Okay, I'll show you. So all these lines of a code, right? So whenever you are trying to write something, your Copilot itself is prompting you in writing that piece of a code that we will be looking at as part of the upcoming sessions. The simple thing is, go to the extensions, choose the GitHub Copilot, sign into that, and then authorize it from your GitHub web account so that your account will be activated on this Copilot, and the chat box will be enabled for you. Once you are done with the Copilot installation, right? So there is an option that it is prompting at the bottom, which is to finish the setup of that Copilot. Okay, finish the setup of that Copilot. I'm just clicking on this finish setup and set up a Copilot. Okay, set up a Copilot, and I'm just setting it up for now. Okay, that's it, guys. As and when you set it up, so this is how it's gonna looks like. You can ask anything, you can choose an agent, you can type anything, all the details will be pre-populated here. Okay, all the details will be pre-populated here. That's it. So this is the only chunk that we need to do in setting up this Copilot. So in the upcoming sessions, we will be looking at the beauty how exactly this Copilot is helping us in writing down the code. Okay, perfect. Done the deal. See you in the next session. Thank you.
Hi everyone. Welcome back. So, guys, if you remember, as part of the previous session, we have downloaded the required things. So now let us try to create a basic program. So what exactly a basic program is? Ideally, whenever we are starting with any programming languages, right, we will try to see how exactly we can print a simple message like a hello world, hi, anything, a print message, how the print message is going to work. So what I'm doing here is I'm just launching my Visual Studio Code. So I don't want this particular stuff. Just close it. And here, as and when the Visual Studio Code got open, see it is asking new file, open, clone the repository, all these things. So what I'm doing here is for my better visibility and better folder structure within the documents inside the Playwright folder, I'm creating a new folder with a name as a code base. Okay, I'm just creating a new folder with a name as a code base. So here, open, I'm opening inside the documents, inside the Playwright, this folder what I have created. So what exactly that particular folder is? So as of now, within my documents, I'm capturing those videos. Along with the videos, I'm just trying to maintain my code base. So whenever you try to open this, it's asking me a confirmation. Yes, of course, I trust it. So this is the place where it got opened. Inside which I'm creating. See here, the first one is a new file. If you mouse over on it, it's gonna display that. And the second one, when you mouse over on that, new folder. So let me create TS basics. Okay, so I have just created a new folder with the TS basics. So inside the TS basics, I'm creating a new file. Okay, print info. Okay, I just created a program with a print info. Okay, that's fine. So what additionally we can do here, right? We should know. So what additionally we can do here? Okay, so in order to do this particular one, so here what I'm doing is in order to print any messages to the console, we can use console.log. Okay, console.log. Here I'm using hello students. Okay, so hello students. So basically that's what I haven't done. I haven't created anything. So console.log hello student. So that the end semicolon is an optional one. So you can add it or you don't need to add it. So console.log. Okay, perfectly all right. Now let us try to run it. So in order to run it, let us see the options. So here I'm just pulling it up this particular terminal. So how can we run it? If you remember, the execution steps, you need to compile it first, right? If you remember, you need to compile it first. And upon compiling, then you can execute it. That's fine. If you look at this particular terminal, it's in a code base folder. The test script that you have created is inside the TS bases. So CD, I'm using TypeScript basics. So I'm asking it to switch into that. And right now, so if you remember, right after you have installed the TypeScript from your terminal, we have used a, TSC hyphen hyphen version. So let me try to use the same command here. So I'm getting this a TSC hyphen version. Using the TypeScript compiler, the first approach, we will convert the TypeScript code into a JavaScript program. So the only thing that we need to do as part of this particular chunk, right? Okay, so let us try to run this particular chunk by using this particular command here. So here, TSC and the program name is print info dot, okay, ts. This is the file. So I was just using that. So whenever I have a use in this particular one, okay, print info file and not a font. Why? Print info. Okay, so the extension should be there, right? At TS. So I just created it, but I just need to add it an extension. So print info.ts. It's mandatory for us to add a TS extension. I think initially whenever I was creating, I forgot to add that particular extension. So here, upon creating a TS extension, see here the TS is showing it up. Now use the same command again. So whenever I just ran it, see here, ignore these error messages. Anyways, we will see those error messages. But if you see this, okay, but if you see this, the JS file got a created. Okay, from the TypeScripting, a JavaScript file got a created. Now here, node, okay, node print info.js. So whenever you have a used, see hello student message got a printed down. Okay, hello student message got a printed down to this particular console. Perfectly all right. This is the first approach.
Hey, hi everyone, welcome back. So, guys, as part of the previous session, we have seen how exactly we can execute the program by converting into a JS file, and then we have executed it. Now, let us see an option directly. We can run a TypeScript file. For which you need to install the TS node into your VS Code. So I was just opening it. So it's not like the VS Code itself. You can directly add it to your terminal also. That's fine. I was just executing this one. npm install -g ts node. And when it executed, so this much information that's being saying that the package has got added successfully. And we should make sure that we are inside this particular package where your TS file is there. Hence, I switch it to CD space. And then the next point here is a TS space hyphen node, and I'm using print info. Okay, and I'm just using a print info. So whenever I'm executing that, see hello student is being populated. So this is the way how exactly you can execute it using this particular TS node plugin. So, guys, we have seen two different approaches in executing this particular TS file. Right. Let me show you the another two approaches. For which, what I am doing right now is I'm trying to uninstall that TS node. Whatever we have installed, I have uninstalled it. Now, TS node hyphen version. When I check it, it's saying that TS node not found, which means the TS node is successfully uninstalled. Then, Surendra, how are you going to execute a TypeScript file directly? With a node version of a 20.6 plus and a 22.x versions, TypeScript comes by default. You no need to use any TS node. That's the latest feature. So what can I do? Basically, switch to the folder first. So switch to this particular basics node print info.ts. That's it. Automatically, that content will be executed. So the only thing is a node, that particular file name .ts, automatically your code will be executed. And the another approach is there is a plugin basically, which is a code runner plugin. Install this particular code runner plugin. Okay, or an extension. And upon installing that extension, go to the manage and go to this particular settings. And here, as part of this, a code runner executor map, right? Editing in settings JSN. And here, if you look at it, this particular TypeScript, make sure that it's pointing to the node. That's it, guys. Save this particular file, close these settings. We have added this extension also, close it. And when you open your particular file, right? When you look at this particular file, okay, here you do have an option as a play button here. This is the play button next to that particular file. Okay, so directly click on that particular play button and check whether the script is executing or not. I just clicked on a play button. See here, this is Surendra Jagannatham TS file got executed. So here Surendra Jagannatham TypeScript file, save it and hit this particular play button. And if you scroll down here, see in the console, it is saying that this is Surendra Jagannatham TypeScript file got executed. So this is the way how exactly you can execute it, guys. So these are the various approaches. Among all these approaches, right? The code runner is the simple option. Right after creating the test script, you do have an option to play. With this approach, we will be executing that. Okay, perfectly all right. See you again in the next session. Thank you.